Zone's Robo Ramen. And let me just say that these teams are seeded not too equally, so I'm curious to see how they fare against each other. Landcrab's currently seeded 22nd, while Persona 3 Reload is seeded 12th. And let's see how they do.
There we go. Like shown on Sendo, we do see that bow hopping out on the side of Persona 3 Reload, and on the other side we have a very midline dominant team on the side of Persona 3 Reload, but they have that heavy splatling, which can really control the zone here on Robo, which is going to be hard to be able to take back if they can't pick off the heavy. But as I say this, 2 members go down on the side of Landcrabs. That was the Gal and the Dynamo going down to getting picked down. Persona 3 Reload did get cap here. It looks like that sword is pushing up nicely. The Pro trying to take the fight on the Dapples in the bottom corner. Dapples is able to get out there. And the Kraken is trying to go in and make some presence on top while the Reef Slider's taking the corner. Does pick off that Dynamo. I've noticed that they're taking... Persona 3 Reload is taking control of that Dynamo quite well, making sure that the coolers do not go out.
Yeah, Persona 3 there really disregarded Landcrab's entire flank. They had the Kraken going in and the Reef Slider player going on from the side as well. But it seemed like they were unbothered and just held the front line. And look, it really paid off because now they've got the counter down to 30, even further. And Landcrabs doesn't seem like they have many resources to work with here. They've already popped the Tacticaler, so they want to get into zone. But with this Inkjet, it looks like they might not be able to, even if Yang... no, if you're getting splattered in the middle of the zone, that's such a steamroll on our first game here. And
yeah,
it seemed like Landcrabs was always on their back foot, Debbie.
they were on the back foot, and it's interesting because having the heavy Dynamo comp there, it can be very controlling, but Persona 3 Reload just basically said, no, we're not going to let you have that control. As soon as we have that advantage, we're going to take that control, keep you back so you do not get your resources in. We do not let that heavy paint. We do not let the Dynamo take all of the top corners to put tidal waves down on top in the wings. Mm-hmm. We're just going to keep you back with the specials that we have. And I saw that the Pro was taking that right side of elbow, the Sword was taking the left side of elbow, and the Inkjet just kind of being able to poke out across the top as well, helping with that. And it just worked out really well for Persona 3 Reload.
Yeah, at the start of the match, I wanted to make this point where you mentioned the heavy splatling and the Dynamo as well. These are two weapons that are rising in popularity due to recent buffs. And they're great and all, but those two weapons amount to almost nothing if you don't have control of the map, because it's very hard to retake, and sure, they provide a lot of stability and a lot of control, but when you have control of the map. And it seemed like Persona 3, they did not want to give up anything. And I want to go back to my earlier statement about them completely disregarding the opponent's flank. They did so well in maintaining their cool and just holding the line. They held the line, and when the time came, they turned around, dealt with the two flankers that almost swiped them, frankly. But no, they cleaned them off, swept under the rug, move on, KO the game.
It just like they had it set in motion in there. Going with Landcrabs as well, the way with their resources, because we did see a couple Reef Sliders. I know I saw one for sure towards the end taking up the choke, and I did see a couple Krakens go forward. The only thing with that is that they didn't have the extra pressure to go with those two initiating specials, because the Kraken would go in, would try to push people around, but everything else around them was still in Persona 3 Reload's color. It was still in control, and by the time the Kraken was done, really the rest of Landcrabs couldn't really make a move to be able to capitalize on it at all. So hopefully in this next map mode here, which is going to be Clan Blitz Museum, when Landcrabs does trigger those specials that they can get off, they are able to actually get something out of it with a unit, or the team is ready to move with that special. I think that'll help them out quite a bit here.
Mm-hmm. In this map, and especially in a mode that is a lot more, let's call it chaotic or mobile than Splat Zones, where the objective is scattered all around the map, I think not Persona 3, sorry. I think Landcrabs really want to set up or at least pave the way for their Dapple Doolies player to make a play and just roam around the map, get a few picks, at least divert some attention to themselves, so that the rest of the team can push forward. And I'm very curious to see how they fare in this, in such a different setting, right? Because Persona 3, they proved themselves to be a much stronger team from the looks of it, based on that first game. So this is Landcrab's opportunity to answer back.
All right, looks like we see the Frozen Pro coming out here instead of the Forge, which I can see quite well with the bomb, the missiles location, but also on the other team, instead of the Heavy, we have the Vanilla Ballpoint. We've got 2 Inkjets now on the field, 1 on each side that can be used for each team's pushing power.
Here we see the Dapple Dualies on the side of Persona 3 actually getting picked off. I was going to say setting up for a play, but no. Landcrabs is pushing into mid with all their might. Ballpoint Splatling here trying to pick off that Inkjet to no avail, but it seems like that Inkjet also didn't do much for themselves as the Ballpoint pops an Inkjet of their own. But look, Landcrabs didn't really move up or get any map control with that early advantage. And now Persona 3 is pushing back into mid and getting a couple picks to show for it. And I think this could be the start of a very, very strong push.
Yeah, just a little bit slow on trying to take something back there, but then Persona 3 just capitalizing on it. Like, they're not wasting any time. They know that as soon as the terrain is given, we've got to take it. It's going to work well for our comp. We're going to poke out, and you can see that Landcrabs tried to do a different approach, trying to put a couple from in front and then do the rest from behind, but Persona 3 was ready to be able to take that down on the corner as they got the bow got the chip on the far right, and then the rest just collapsed on the left. And now we have the first basket break from Persona 3 Reload, even though they didn't get a push off of it, but they are still going. The cooler is out, missiles went out, jet went out, we've got specials going out here, and mid control looks like it was more in Persona 3 Reload's favor, but it looks like Landcrabs are finally trying to take use of it while the Reslider tries to go up top. The Gal is taken down on the side corner, but again, 2 people go down on the side of Persona 3 Reload, and Landcrabs are just kind of stuck down in this corner. They could move up a little bit more here, but they're just stuck down in this corner here from the rest of what Persona 3 Reload is trying to throw at them here.
The Dynamo Roller here, popping the Tactic Cooler. This could be the start of something great for Landcrabs. All they need is 1 pick, and maybe they can take control of the enemy plat. Persona 3 Reload, 3 players down. This is now a very dangerous position for them to be in as Landcrabs starts their push. That's 1 Power Clam, a second one coming in, as only Yang is there to assist that jump in. That jumps right back away, and Yang goes down as well. That was a one and done, but they did get to counter down to 57. Now Persona 3 Reload pushing back into mid. They want to start collecting these clams. They want to defend mid, and they just want to get this win in this next neutral, in this play for mid.
We do. It looks like the Dapple's trying to make a presence on that left side of the map there, but did go down to 2 members there. The Inkjet plus another, the Pro, I believe, was there, and getting taken down on the side, but in return, it looks like the Dynamo gets picked off here. And look at how quickly this sword is moving up on the plat of Landcrab's plat. Just the sword's up there, the Dapple's now up there, and just this push is trying to go and make something happen, but 2 members going down to 3. Landcrab's able to defend this. I was sure that Persona 3 Reload was going to go and be able to get a pretty good score off that setup there, but Landcrab able to defend successfully, and now they can take back control of mid here, and you can see they're doing it quicker now. The pace is up, but we do have a flank from this Dualies here. Is it going to be seen? No, the Dynamo does get picked out. Reef Slider's getting used to try to help here, but it's not going to get any picks from it. Instead, the Dualies is going to end up going down around the corner themselves, and the other Dualie we switched to going down to the Jet. And now just a whole fight on the side there where now just neutral game is still in present. But it looks like that there is something happening on the far right there that happened in a trade. And we're just going from back and forth here in middle.
Yeah, a lot of trades and a lot of fights happening in mid with no clear winner. And when there is a clear winner, it seems like the pushes that are set up don't really last too long. Look, another flank, just a lurk from that Dapple Dually. Completely nullified any semblance of a push that Persona 3, that Landcrabs could have made. Now Persona 3 jumps in, but that's not going to be that big of a push. Okay, I almost ate my words there with that Reef Slider getting a pick, but no, it seems like Land Crabs will neutralize this, or will at least stabilize and try to push back into mid. But I want to say this, Devi. Compared to the first game, these teams now look like they're in a much more equal footing. It's not a landslide by any means, and with 15 seconds back on the clock, Persona 3 Reload really needs to make something happen.
They do, and they know how to do it, but they just haven't had fully effective pushes. They've done it twice. Their Dapples have been able to sneak in the back with another friend, and they've been able to break the basket, and the first they didn't get any clams off of it. The second one they weren't able to get anything off of it, and now in the overtime appears they didn't even have the clam to get it when a member was ready to go. Just the clam economy was not in their favor, even though like Persona 3 Reload had, if you had to put just control of the map, I'm pretty sure Persona 3 Reload had more control of the map overall, even though that mid game was very neutral state. How the dualies were playing basically identical, and it's just one was able to get more back on the flank and up on the plat more than the other, but just when Persona 3 Reload had that opportunity, they did not have the clams to be able to get those pushes off. Meanwhile, when Land Crabs made their push, they had one ball, they were able to build another one, and I think they had the extra clam to put in as well, so they were able to get down to that 57, which we're seeing on the replay here of how they were able to do that. And their defense, they were just able to hold that defense because the clam economy wasn't there. They had the resources to help stop it and just control it. Like at the end, when that Reef Slider, how you said that Reef Slider was gonna could have made you eat your words, I was for sure was like, okay, this is set up really nicely, really well, but just no clams. Clams were not there in Persona 3 Reload's favor.
Mm-hmm. It was also interesting to see on their what seemed to be the start of a great push. Not the replay that is playing. This is the Reef Slider that Devi just mentioned earlier in the game. They got a few picks, I believe 3, and they just all went in, and they had everything set up. And they were moving at such a speed that, honestly, Land Crabs could not compete with. However, their Power Climb player was stuck in Inkjet and on the other side of the map. And Land Crabs just converged on every single member of the opposing team on their side of the map. And they just got completely wiped out. And at that moment, I realized that Clam Blitz game wouldn't be a game of huge pushes or extended pushes, and what we did see was very quick pushes for low ticks of score. But in the end, it seemed like the team with the best defense, or at least that could hold their side of the map the best, won, and that went to Land Crabs. But now they face a great challenge, because this last map was picked by Persona 3, and this is match point. I would be scared to go into a match point that was chosen by my opponent.
It definitely is scary, especially when you just lost on this mode. Part of me is a little bit confused by the choice, but it was a relatively quick lock-in. So there is a chance that Persona 3 Reload knows what they want to do here. They realize what they did wrong, and now they know how to do it. I said it in the last one, like if Persona 3 Reload had clam economy, their pushes would have been a lot better. Like, they had the push in there. They were ready to go, but just one part of the team was a bit quicker than the other. They didn't have the economy to be able to get those successful pushes. So there is a chance, hey, we realize this. Now let's just do it again, but better. That's my theory on this. Or it's just a fully ready-to-go map that they have. Just ready to roll on it. So...
Well, let's see. We see essentially the same team comps. We see that 96.
The pro changed back
again. Yeah, and the pro changed back. And look, what I'm thinking is that Persona 3 is confident in their Clam Blitz capabilities, and they know, okay, that was a fluke. And if we manage to get one strong push in, we can win the game. But that will certainly happen if you start the game off with 2 picks in your favor and they start moving towards the enemy spawn. But as you said, their clam economy not the best. They finally built that power clam, but with just 5 other clams at their disposal. I don't think this can last very long, especially when you're getting inkjetted. But no, get it a pick or two, and you can keep that going. Look, this can be dangerous, and Landcrabs okay, no, they just need to wipe them once, and that's exactly what happens. And now we're back to mid.
Compared to the start of the first push that they had on the last game, so much better though. Persona 3 Reload went in onto Landcrabs, got 2, went with it. The Inkjet was popped from that bow, able to read that Dynamo up on Snipe, got a pick, and was just immediately gone down. And now we're looking at this again. Persona 3 Reload is just capitalizing on Landcrabs here and just pushing the back. And it was just vice versa a second ago, and now it just flipped right back. It just 2 snaps of the fingers, and what happened? Now we got the Kraken out. We see the pros hanging onto the ball here. We see members of Persona 3 Reload are still trying to hold up onto this top corner. They're just putting all of the aggression in the face. The Reef Slider getting 2. A lot of the clams are gone. They're gonna score this, but the dualies are gonna go down. There's nobody to follow up here, giving Landcrabs another clam to be able to work with here, and they still have mid control, but Landcrabs now has the extra clam at their disposal. Dooley's getting picked off, but you can see Landcrabs is trying to take mid here, but it's definitely not as quick as Persona 3 Reload is trying to take it back.
No, maybe with this tactic cooler, it will help them a little bit as Yang is back on the battlefield. Seems like they might be going for the pick onto the Splatana Stamper there, but they're alone and they got nothing to show for it. Lettuce here getting forced to pop this Kraken might delay this push for a little bit more as his teammates get the pick onto the Booyah player. And look, Persona 3 here finally forced to just put their foot on the brakes, because it seemed like up until now they controlled the entire game and they just never really stopped going in and fighting, and it seemed like they were always at an advantage. Now finally, Landcrabs found a window to move in, but it's back to spawn with them, and Persona 3 Reload again has map control, even with their bow player going down. Okay, maybe with 2 this will change, but if they get a couple picks here, Landcrabs will have made no progress in 3 minutes of this map.
Yeah, it's just mostly like Persona 3 Reload is just able to, as soon as Landcrabs push, it just happened again, 2 of them go down, and Persona 3 Reload can just take back the map again. Landcrabs is having such a hard time being able to actually push up the ramp, because Persona 3 Reload is right there and takes 2 down as soon as it happens. So Persona 3 Reload just really dominating this map, like you said, and Landcrabs are having a really hard time trying to get in. The Inkjet's out now. It looks like the Doolies manages to sneak it on the right, gets a pick. Lettuce able to finish it off. Potato just has to jump back there with the clams as they're the only one left alive on Persona 3 Reload, but this is Landcrabs' opportunity. We said they just couldn't find that opening there. They finally got the ball in. They finally have a push. They had another clam at their disposal. Yang's just hiding under there, trying to get something done there, is able to get the Reef Slider off on the pro, and now they have the chance. They just need the clams to be able to get in. They ran out of clam economy, but if they can hold there, we can see the ball point there, just getting extra clams. They got the clams in. They have the lead. There's a minute left in this game, and now Landcrabs has that possession up there, but 2 are down. There's still 50 seconds left in this game. Persona 3 Reload is not going to just sit back. They are going to go and take space as soon as they possibly can.
Yes, and Landcrabs better not take this lead for granted, because right now they're backed against a wall. And Persona 3 Reload, although they don't have many clams, they do have a lot of specials coming online, and they want to start this push. And it's going to be explosive. Reef Slider coming out. That's 3 picks. Ooh. It's going to be a flip in the lead. For sure, all they need is a couple more clams, but as Landcrabs is all coming from spawn, Persona 3 has free reign to score these and keep that lead going, actually. I thought maybe they would stabilize, go back to mid, and just assure that they win this game, but no, it seems like they want to keep this push going, get the pick onto Yang, and now it's going to be the defense game, as Landcrabs has one final opportunity to flip this game.
Overtime out now. 2 members of Persona 3 Reload are down, and you can see that just clams just do not want to be on the map for Persona 3 Reload, so Landcrabs can't get it. Inkjet picking up the Dynamo. Lettuce able to go in and score. Yang trying to come in on the side here. Does have the Reef Slider ready. Is going to pop it. Not going to be able to find anyone from it, but is trying to keep things stable here, trying to keep the basket open here, best possible with the ball point here. 2 members up there, they're still going. They just need a few more clams to be able to pull this off. It looks like the jump-in's coming up on Snipe with a few clams, but they can't get around the pole. They couldn't get around the pole, and now the basket's gonna close. Oh my goodness, that was a lot closer at the very end than we think. Just that jump-in just stuck right behind the one place where it's just not gonna be able to get the clams in the basket. Oh,
unlucky positioning there. And let me just say, that was a much stronger finish for land crabs than I thought they would have.